Hi, everybody. I hope you're having the kind of day I'm having. No, I'm kidding. It started off a little rocky, but now it's better because my friend Diane is here. And Diane Randall, say hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. And Diane has been here before, but I bet it's a year. Is it a year that you
Probably
were?
close to it.
I,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. It's
think.
been a while.
Yeah, so I'm looking all over the place for things. I'm scattered. Um, but I have reason to be. I recently had a situation in the hospital a couple weeks ago, and I'm going through something where they're trying to rule out a disease that I do not want to have.
Okay.
So I'm in limbo until I find out and praying a lot.
I hear you.
Yeah. So Diane, I know you have a couple books or just one. When I talked to you, you had one.
Actually, I have one Jumpstart Your Life, but now I have a new one coming out that I'm so excited about. It's called A Whole Life Nourish Plant-Based Living with a Holistic Approach.
I thought so. She said, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
great.
I may have been writing it when I talked to you a year ago. That's
Maybe.
how long I've been messing around with it.
Honey, people don't realize, I mean, I wrote my first book was a memoir. So of course I know everything I'm writing is true, but I still had to do research and I still had to have references.
Yes,
If
yes.
I said Joey Dan Smith was a gangster, and I'm using his real name, I better in the back of the book have the Scranton Times, Joey Dan so-and-so arrested today for,
Yeah, that's some research.
that's research, baby. Well, I'm from Scranton, Pennsylvania. We had quite a underground, well, it wasn't that underground, it was pretty obvious, mafia connection to people.
So did Chicago.
Oh, I know. I mean, there are certain places that we were like, the New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania was so close. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So, Diane, you have a master's degree in spiritual psychology. Is that right?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And you use that as a whole living consultant and speaker, right?
Yes. Yes, I do.
And author. And you travel the world and you put on workshops and you speak. That's all exciting to me. That's wonderful. But I have to ask you this one. I'm doing my research and were you on Oprah Winfrey?
Years ago, and it was such a fluke. I went to a cocktail party, and one of her producers like something I said. Next thing I know, I'm in the green room, and then she's asking me about relationships. So it was a very surreal experience, and I love when things happen that I didn't even see coming.
Yes. So you were with her face to face, right?
Oh
Talking face.
yeah, oh yeah. I was
And
an
she
official guest.
and always she seemed to me the real thing. Like if she makes a mistake, she owns up to it, which she's doing right now worldwide about the weight.
Yeah.
But she does. She seems like the real thing. And this is a funny aside story about how things just happen. My granddaughter a couple of years ago was dating a boy that his mother was friends with Whoopi Goldberg. And they were going to dinner and some gambling at a casino in Atlantic City. And his mother said, "Oh, let's go visit my friend." And she got to meet Oprah Winfrey
Oh, how nice.
in our house. So she's texting me, "I'm at Oprah Winfrey's."
How nice is that?
Yeah, and she's trying to like subtly take pictures of the house. But
Oh, okay.
unfortunately, she broke up with that boy. So I'll never get to meet Oprah.
Well,
that.
she lived here in Chicago for many, many years, and her studio was in the West Loop. So, yeah, she was actually a local for many, many years.
She was. So let me ask you, we're busy women. How do you make yourself a priority?
Oh, I've had plenty of practice, let me tell you. Being a young woman with two children, divorced mom with a wonderful, wonderful career in technology, and then starting a business. I had to really learn how to make myself a priority. But working all these years, meeting and talking to different people about how they want to learn how to do it, I have become, and I'm just going to say, a master. Okay. I have definitely set my life up with me first. But
Yes.
keep in mind, there's ebbs and flows with that. It depends on what's going on in your life at any time. Uh, how, your children, if they're small, like mine are adults. So my life looked pretty different. When
Yes.
they were smaller, the way I worked looked pretty different. So it's not something you flip over,
No,
and then bam, you're a
no.
prior. But it's keeping uh, myself up front intentionally. I mean, there was a time when I had to even schedule in me
Yes. I
in
know.
my calendar.
Here's
Okay.
more we have in common. I was a single mother with two small children, a husband that did not pay child support and got away with it.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
And I was dragging these little 3 and 4 years old to daycare, two separate daycares because of their age, did not have a car,
Mm.
had to walk to the bus stop. I mean, honey. And then I went to the library while they were in school. I'd go to class, and if I didn't have a class, I'd go to the college library because when was I going to study? You know,
Right.
and I'd bring them home. I was 28. I was 28. And I'd bring them home, and it was in the 70s, and feed them, put them to bed. And then what they had to eat was usually macaroni and cheese, something cheap, whatever.
Right, right,
And
right.
I was studying, but back in the day, I'd get the weed out. Because I had to relax. Talk about self-care.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, of course, that was a long time ago,
Of course, of course.
but
There was, yeah,
that was common, actually.
it was very common. I would drink a glass of wine to settle down.
Yep.
But then the more I learned and explored and researched, I started swapping out the wine with maybe just sitting still and meditating or listening to some nice music.
It takes a while.
Something, yeah, yeah, yeah. This was, I evolved over
Oh,
time because, you look for that go to quick, oh, give me a glass of wine when I walk in the door. I did that for a while because that's all I knew. But when I really started thinking
yeah.
about how can I
Yeah.
make myself a priority, put myself first, because
Yeah.
the truth is, when we take care of ourselves, we can show up even better for our children
As
and the people we love.
and it's funny you say that because, excuse me, Mother's Day 1991, I went to rehab.
Okay.
So I have 33 years. But isn't it odd? I went on Mother's Day.
Hey, hey,
Oh,
you went when you were supposed to be
I
there.
went,
Why not Mother's Day?
my kids couldn't pack the suitcase fast enough. So, but of course, then through the years of being sober and going into counseling, and I learned a lot of things about boundaries and self-care and all this stuff. And, you know, better for them because I was able to raise them to be wonderful, three wonderful women.
Absolutely.
So that was great. But the self-love and the self-care. So a lot of people, a lot of women too, and a lot of men, um, a lot of times they get into addiction because they don't have self-love. And you have to love yourself first. And people don't realize that. A lot of people do not realize that.
That's right.
You cannot love somebody else until you love yourself. And that was so true. I was self-medicating and I didn't love myself. And that was a big change when I finally did realize that. Then with that, we got into now you have to take care of yourself, another foreign thought, right? Like
Mhm.
you went through it, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So now today, in your circumstances today, what kind of things do you do to take care of yourself and love yourself?
What I realized and recognized was is that I could only love people equal to the level that I love myself. So once I figured that out, I'm like, okay, I really need to take care of myself. So it was reading and the reading led to going to maybe a lecture, maybe listening to a speaker or some type of spiritual pastor or something, and the words would resonate. And
Yeah,
when something resonated with me, even if it was a book or a teacher, I would go a little deeper into
yeah,
what that meant because for some reason I heard those words and it made me feel lighter. So I would go where the light feeling was because there was a time I didn't know what that meant but if it resonated
yes.
and it made me feel good inside that wow, that's
That's
something.
it.
Then
I
I looked at that.
I relate. The first self-help book I read was the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Truly, because that is a self-help book.
Mhm,
It really
mhm.
is. And they had to detox me first before I could read it. And oh my God, I I had been going to college. I was very intelligent, very resourceful, very self-sufficient, but I was an alcoholic and I still didn't realize it, believe it, I guess you'd say, because I was almost functional till I wasn't.
Right.
Uh,
Mhm.
when I started reading that book, I was like, whoa, where was this book when I was like 18, like a young person, right?
Right. And I believe we get an experience that helped us when we need it. You know what I mean? Because at 18, maybe you wouldn't have received it in a way that
Yeah.
you were able to as someone in their late 20s or
I
early
thought I
30s.
needed it. And at the
Or
time,
even thought you needed it, right? It's so I believe we get what we need when
when
we need it.
we're ready, the
It's
teacher
that's
will,
right. That's
when the
right.
student
When
is
we're
ready.
ready.
Yeah.
When the
And
student is ready.
but going on with the reading, so of course, now I'm sober. I read that book and being sober and going to meetings and going to counseling, I was introduced to other books and to other
Mhm.
authors and to other schools of thought and New Age theory towards God and different things. And I was not practicing my original religion, which was Catholicism,
Mhm.
because my first husband, we married in the Catholic Church, and when we divorced, um, they excommunicated me, and I didn't do anything. He cheated.
Interesting.
He cheated on me, but
Wow.
the divorce was the sin,
Oh, okay. And you got punished, right?
and that pissed me off for years and
Mm.
years and years and years. So down the road quite a while ways, I'll say 20 years ago, I started reading over 20 years ago, Marianne Williamson and Chopra, Deepak Chopra, and authors like that.
Yeah.
And I came to Florida 20 years ago and found a community which was based on the same type of principles that they taught.
Awesome. That's so great.
And I don't know if you know anything about it, but it's non-religious. It is a spiritual community, and that appealed to me.
Yeah.
So my husband, the first time we went there, we were walking up the steps, and he was a dyed-in-the-wool Catholic. He was, I used to call him, I used to tell people he was in the IRA. I, you know what I'm going to say? Irish Catholic alcoholic. The CIA, I got that wrong.
Okay.
Catholic Irish alcoholic, okay? And he was sober, but we're going up the steps and he said, "Oh, we're going to hell." Because he still had that Catholic thing in it, yeah. But that was a big change, a big change. But I embraced it and he embraced it. He loved it. Same thing happened with AA. He didn't think he belonged there. And now it's like such a cornerstone of his life. But we embrace change at our own speed, you know, and that brought us empowerment. So let's hear your take on that, on embracing change and the empowerment, because I know
Well,
you about that.
yeah, so in order to embrace change, you have to show up empowered because that gives you the confidence,
Mhm.
that gives you the will to move forward because you're not, this is about you. And sometimes when we're not empowered in our life, we're listening to everybody else and their take on what we should and should not be doing.
Especially when we're young.
So when you're standing in your power, it gives you not only the control, but it gives you strength.
Mhm.
It gives you the ability to set boundaries to protect what you feel is important to you, what's a priority to you. It's really a powerful, powerful uh, position to be in, or experience, or
Right.
feeling, and it's nothing you can be taught.
No.
It's nothing, it really comes into play when we've done self-healing, we've released a lot of shame and self-doubt, and these are things that we've all grown up with for one reason or another.
Mm.
But once we can do some inner work, because all this is inside, it's nothing external
Mhm.
that could teach us. We can teach us the words of empowerment, but it really comes from the inside out.
And that, of course, to me, this is my belief. We are taught our core beliefs by our parents. Like, that's our first contact. We come into the world. And if we do not have very good parents, they're not going to teach us about self-worth or self-love or any of that. And they might be very critical or even abusive. And I've been reading about the studies they're doing that say the embryo feels the mother's feelings,
Mhm.
takes them in. And my mother tried to abort me,
Oh
and
my God.
she tried to abort me, and I didn't know it until after she died. And she wrote it in a journal, and it happened to be a journal that I gave her to leave me after she passed.
Oh my goodness.
And one of the questions said, "How did you feel when you found out you were pregnant with me?" And she wrote, "Well, I didn't have a lot of money, so I kept jumping up and down the stairs, and I took a lot of mustard baths." And it blew me away. Not that she did it, Diane, but that she wrote it in a book.
Yeah.
She
Yeah, she wrote it down and left it to you.
she really loved me. But, yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I didn't let that crush me. I did not, because I was already in the place I'm at now, which is a good place. But that's a kind of a big thing. And I think if it happened to anybody else, I think you should go to counseling and talk about that. But embrace it, feel the feelings, and then go get some help.
Feel the
But
feeling. That's important, what you just said. Feel the feeling, because what we tend to do is just stuff it and keep going until we're triggered by everything under the sun.
and we don't know why.
Okay. And
Yeah.
we don't know why.
And it's because we were told these terrible things and believed them as a child. So
We
we still,
believe them, and then as we grew up, because I always say after a certain point, maybe around a young adult, 25 or so, the statute of limitations is over for what your parents did or did not do. It's really time to
Yes.
take responsibility and
Oh,
figure out how can I heal this
yeah.
thing because it's interfering with my life. It's, it's manifesting. It's working on those things that get in the way.
Making me marry the wrong man.
Exactly.
So,
Well,
what, they gotta start small. So, what small steps can destroy those false beliefs that you may have about yourself? Like I said, small steps for a reason.
well, the first step is acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
acknowledging that maybe I need some help. Maybe I'm not looking at life in the same way. Maybe this relationship that I have with my significant other, whether it's my husband or my wife or my child, maybe there's something deeper going on
Mm-hmm.
that's interfering with my ability to have a loving relationship with people that I love. We'll
Yeah.
start there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Acknowledge it. Right.
It's
That-
it's acknowledge it's seeking help. And just like me, I didn't know what the heck where to go. I started reading. And today it's so much easier. You can look on the internet to find different topics. So if I feel that I'm feeling a lot of shame and self-doubt, I can look up psychological help for shame and self-doubt. I can look for a life coach. I
Yeah.
can look for books under certain categories to start there. And then if I'm reading that book
Yeah.
and something resonates with me, a certain topic or area, maybe I want to dig deeper into that particular area of that book.
I'm glad you're bringing reading up because so many of today's younger people do not read. They do not read. And I'm talking fiction and nonfiction. And
Mhm.
I meet people, and of course, I've written 3 books already. And I say to them, before I give them my card, I go, do you read? And a lot of them, thank God, say yes, but I'd rather listen on Audible, which is okay. We didn't have that in our day. Maybe I would have did that too. Many, many say no. And my own granddaughter, uh, I gave her a copy of my first book, and after a couple months or whatever, um, I said, "Did you read the book?" And she said, "Oh, not yet." And she said, "Nana, no, she didn't say when. She said if. She said, if I read your book, it will be the first book I've ever read." I was stunned, and I said, "How did you get through high school?" I mean, it blows my mind. So
Yeah,
that,
it's
yeah,
it's it's a, it's different now. I mean, they don't do cursive writing, teach cursive writing anymore.
breaks my heart.
I know it's really changed.
They're taking away classics. Like when I was in school, I loved reading Shakespeare and Hemingway and all different types of authors. And they're just taking all these things out that are so, it's like, okay, it's not necessary. So we're going to get rid of it.
Well, it really is because in life, everything you do, you have to sign, right? They want you to sign and print.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but I'm not in school. I know my son has a child in school, my
Yeah.
grandson, and it's very when I hear that stuff, it's very disappointing,
It's
you
very
know.
disappointing. We even to hear like they don't want to read the classics. And it's like, wow, what a different generation we're coming up with. So, we talked about that. So let's talk about the coping skills that you did have to learn when you did start reading and realizing that some steps could destroy those false beliefs and your own belief in yourself could get bigger. So what coping skills did you have to learn?
Here's a big one that I learned, and it carried me far.
Ooh.
So if let's say I was triggered by something, let's say someone said something, or what I would learn to do was pause and count to 10.
Mhm.
That if I didn't know what to do in a situation, it is pause and process what I just heard
Mhm. Mm.
before I spoke. So what I learned was not to speak so quickly. And I've even, I would even, and even that every now and then I still use that,
Well,
you
sure.
know,
I
because
I get triggered. Not as much, but when I would get triggered, I would get triggered and I'd react. I would
Right.
react.
Quickly,
And
quickly.
that actually was an old coping skill of survival. You know,
Correct.
you don't wait. So then I learned, first of all, not to be triggered, but if I am triggered, I wait, like you said, pause, and I sit with the feeling for a couple minutes and say, why am I feeling like this? What did they trigger in me? And it always goes back to like abandonment issues or unloved issues from childhood, usually, you know.
Absolutely. And what I do the same thing. I check in to see where is this coming from? What is the truth about this feeling? And 9 times out of 10, it has nothing to do with that person.
Yeah, right, right. And then instead of reacting, then I respond. So
Or
that's,
or
yeah,
not, or not.
my response might be no response, right? But
Exactly.
it's not reacting.
Exactly. It's not reacting. It's responding in a way that that kind of serves you in the moment. You know,
Mhm.
what we've learned
Yeah,
is,
yes.
everything doesn't need a response.
I'm learning that more and more.
Oh yeah, I've learned that a lot. And here's the beautiful thing. Sometimes people can say something crazy that I may have reacted to over the years, and I'm using the word react, not respond. I would have immediately reacted to, but now what I love about myself today is I can hear it, and I don't feel anything. You know what I mean? So I won't even give it attention.
Not taking it.
And I'm not assuming that you're talking to me. You know what I mean? And it's not a personal attachment at all to what you just said, you know.
Sure. Because I might say something to my husband that has nothing to do with him, but I'm having a bad day or I'm struggling with something and he just comes in at the wrong moment.
Yeah, that happens.
So, you right now, as far as we were talking about religion and spirituality and everything, and are you more into what I guess you'd call the holistic wellness realm?
Yes,
Well,
holistic.
explain a little bit.
Mind, body, spirit.
Yes,
Because here's what I believe, and we've really been talking about this, is that everything goes together. Your
yes.
body doesn't respond without your mind. Your mind really controls your body.
Hmm,
So
hmm.
if your mind is at peace, your body will be at peace.
Yes,
And
yes,
that's from what we put into our bodies. That's from what state is our mind in? How do we treat our mind? Do we even pay it any attention, or do we just let thoughts run wild?
exactly. Yeah,
Do we recognize that we can have peace? And peace means my mind is at peace.
exactly. And if your mind, there's a book, and I don't know the author's name right now, and it's called The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, that is Vandersloot,
Uh,
German. Yeah, he's
yeah,
from South
Germany.
Africa. I have that book. I
Yeah,
even read
isn't,
it. The
isn't that a
Body
good
Keeps
book?
the Score. It is a good book.
And it's talking exactly about what we're talking about.
Yes, it does. Yes,
I
absolutely.
I have an autoimmune disease. I have inflammation through my whole body, and inflammation is definitely caused by stress. So,
Okay.
stressful things in my life, now my body's paying for it. The body keeps the score.
The body does keep the score. So for me, it's always checking in because I've had to do hard things.
Yes.
I've had to end relationships
Yeah, me too.
because if I'm putting myself first,
Mhm.
it's really doing those things that bring me peace, because that's my mantra at this part: as much peace as possible. I mean, you can't help what happens to you, but you can certainly help how you respond. And sometimes that response is that maybe I leave that space, or I'm so intentional about my life. I listen to my gut. My gut drives my life, and it's definitely in alignment with what I want for myself. at this
Well,
point.
that is like the basis of the chakras with people that, when they talk about chakras and listeners that don't know about that, I have other podcasts that talk about chakras. But it's like if your throat hurts and that chakra is telling you you need to say something about something, or your throat's going to keep hurting. And I really think that. I think there's a mind-body connection and also the soul.
Absolutely. And that's the work I do. I call myself, I am a whole living consultant.
Yes.
And everything is the mind, the body, and the spirit, even though in our society we separate those things. So the work I do is to remind us
Mhm.
that it all works together. And
Yeah.
one isn't really successful without the
No,
other.
it is not. And what's your website? You have a website.
It's Diane Randall Consults.
Diane, one N.
One N, Diane,
Mhm.
Randall, Randall,
Wealth
Consults,
consults.
Consults. And I'm so excited because I'm redoing the whole website.
Oh, cool. Well,
I'm in the
that's
process.
all right. I'm redoing mine too, but that's great.
Awesome.
So, and you have a second book that you're working on,
Yes. A
and
whole a whole life nourished.
there
Mind,
you.
body, spirit.
I love
Yes.
it. And when do you think that might be coming out?
That should be done. It's already edited. It's being designed now, the book and the cover. I would say by August. It should that's
Oh,
the date that I'm going
okay.
for,
All right.
August.
So
Yeah.
after it's out and it's
Late
published,
August. Mhm.
yeah, get back to me
I
and
will.
talk
I
about the
will.
book.
I will. I would love to do that. I
Now, you
appreciate
don't
that.
have a podcast, do you?
Yes, I do. I kicked off a podcast last year called Plant Based Curious. It's for people who are interested in exploring and learning and understanding what does it really mean to be plant based? What does it mean to be vegan? What does whole living mean? And what
Yeah.
is in behavior change? I talk about that too because all that goes together.
I applied. You have a little application or something, don't you? If you want to be on my podcast, fill this out.
Yes, yes.
Look for me. I'm there.
I will. I will. I will. That must have got, when did you do that?
A couple days ago
Oh,
because
okay. Okay. I'll look at it.
I had to go to rehab for an overeating disorder too. So I know a lot of stuff about that.
Oh, that would be nice to talk
Yeah.
about because the people that listen to the podcast aren't necessarily plant-based. They're meat eaters, they're
No,
vegetarian, they come
that's
from
all.
all walks. So
Yeah.
it's just if you're interested, so
Yeah.
that I talk about everything. So
All
that's
right. Well,
cool.
look at my
I will
application.
I will. I will. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
darling. We are running out of time because
Okay.
you are so interesting. That
Thank you.
and we have so much in common. And listeners, I hope you got a lot out of it, or even a little, because little steps lead to big steps.
That's
And we
right.
are going to have Diane on again. And thank you all for listening. And again, Diane, thank you. It's so nice seeing you.
Seeing you and talking to you as well.
I love it. All
All
right.
right.
I'll be in touch
Bye.
soon. Bye bye.
Okay. Cool.